Thank you for listening to 2013 and Beyond with Rashmi Kilnani and Jeremy McDonald. If you'd like to know more about Rashmi, you can check her out at rashmikilnani.com or more about Jeremy at www.jeremymcdonald.net. And now for our show.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I am online here today. This is 2013 and Beyond. We haven't done a show here in a few weeks. Just waiting for my co-host, Rashmi, to come on the line from London, England. I'm sure that she's getting better weather than the last time. I think the last time we talked it was cold and icy in England, and she was still enjoying the beautiful view. Here she is. She's on the line right now, and we'll just bring her on. Just give me 1 second. Well, hello.
Hi, Jeremy. How many minutes late am I?
No, you're about 20. You're not late at all. You're here at the perfect time. But it was just a few seconds, and I was just giving the internet. What's up?
Did you start 20 minutes ago?
No. About 20 seconds ago. So we're good.
Okay, because I had this stupid idea. It was at 7 o'clock London time. So I just got this voice telling me, no, go back to the flat and go and do the show right now.
That was funny because I was just going to message you and go, I think she probably, that's a difference in time. So, but it was, like I said, it was perfect time. We're at the perfect time. And I'm going to apologize to everybody that's listening today because I have had a little bit of a head cold the past few days. And so if I sneeze, I'm going to try to hit the mute before it happens. But if I do, just, I'm sorry in advance.
Are we on air now?
We're on air right now. I just wanted to let everybody know that if I sneeze, I'm going to try to hit the mute button. But I don't want. If it blows the ear off, I'm sorry.
We'll send you some energy.
Absolutely. So what's been going
on? So
a
big hello to everybody.
Yes, definitely. So how is everything over in England?
Things are good. I'm packing up. I've had this temporary home for the last 10 months, and that's coming to an end, and it's back to living in hotels in 3 continents, which is what I do. So it's, an interesting time to just sort of complete the morphogenic work that has been happening out of Europe for the world, and all these new energies that are being opened up and grounded, because the grounding of the energies are so important. And so there's another 3 weeks of this to go. And, it's a very, very important thing because it's really exciting. But as you know, on the weekend we had the Bilderberg meeting in Watford, and we had David Icke speaking to a very large number of people and making a lot of sense, about peaceful, the buzz line being peaceful, peacefully saying no, peaceful non-cooperation, as Gandhiji so beautifully exemplified, and the Indians did to get their freedom back,
Right.
And we've got people tangoing in Turkey with their gas masks on, in spite of the government and the police trying to stop the protests. Again, peaceful celebration, people doing yoga en masse and meditation, has happened, in America as well. So isn't that an exciting time, Jeremy?
It's a very exciting time. And, I'm actually very grateful for something, because I think what happened for us the last 6 months is you and I got to rest and reflect and meditate and do our energy work. And sometimes that's just as healing as it is us out there working for the world, because the healers have to recharge their batteries, so to speak. You get to stay stationary instead of flying and traveling, and I did as well. So it's been really good for me, and I think we're coming into a time where things are just getting ready to just accelerate. Well, they're already happening. I mean, the universe. I was just giggling the other day, and I said the universe is on fire, because it literally is everything. The momentum is just moving so fast, and it's just been absolutely incredible, and I think we're coming up into some very exciting times for the world, and so I'm very excited.
Absolutely. Well, it hasn't felt that restful for me, funnily, and I think it's because, as you say, time is accelerating, and also we're in the space of no time. But I think it's also because, my job is to be an urban shaman, so the job is very much about being in a very urban environment, and you can't get more global village than London. The energy is very highly creative and charged, but on the other hand, the job is to work on the energies within free will and the highest good of a very large number of international people, corporation heads and so on, going through massive, massive change and flux. So, part of the job is for me particularly to, the illusion of me ultimately, but this so-called me person is to ground energy and to transmute energy. And part of it is to be human and create a bridge, because otherwise you get into the ego and there's no compassion. So it's to have a little toe in that 3D energy, and that can really be quite difficult sometimes. It's not like meditating in a cave or like I did when I was in Brazil for 3 weeks by the sea, not being able to speak much or even eat much, because I certainly didn't want to eat a whole load of beef at the time. That was a completely different experience of being with the elements and resting. So, I'm really grateful to Holland Park, and, I'm really grateful to have been part of this opening of the gates of 11/11/11, 12/12/12, and, it's been such an exciting time as well. And also to be part of the information out there, because, these shows that we're doing, as far as I'm concerned, Jeremy, we're really not just having a discussion. I don't use my mind at all, more or less, during this discussion. I might get pulled into it here and there, but I don't think so, because I don't feel so. Because, we're speaking language, as Nisargadatta Maharaj would say. There is a discussion happening, which appears to be happening, but ultimately it's just bringing in energy and working with energy. And this energy can, through the words, this is a gift I've had since I was little, to be able to heal through the voice, through sound, and the voice is sound, so, if our listeners, and I know many of them are major healers and teachers themselves out there and pioneers and doing their own radio shows and writing books and so on, and many of them are just pioneers as in just being still, holding energy, leading an ordinary life, being grounded. It doesn't really matter. None of us are higher or lower than each other. So it's very important to bring in this energy for everybody now, including the healers, teachers, pioneers, because we're all in this together, and we're going to do it together, and it's not a doing thing, it's a being thing. So it's really amazing. So when do you get back to work, or are you going to continue to get to just be?
Well, that's actually, I'm glad you're bringing that up, because there's a couple things, and it goes along with what you're talking about, is that as we've talked about in the show, I work contract jobs, and I'm a corporate trainer by trade. So right. I've taught salespeople and collectors and leaders of corporations for many years on how to excel and be successful. Is it about
marketing you teach, or?
I teach a lot of things about management skills, leadership skills, how to collect money, how to
right.
how to sell, and that kind of stuff. So, and I've always been in that sense, with those types of jobs, marketing, I guess, and I have to teach people how to get over their blocks of, because in those jobs, your success is based on the amount of work you put into it, and the attitude.
Motivation.
Right, motivation. So I had an opportunity to get involved in an organization very recently, and I'm having a lot of success with it. And what's incredible, Rashmi, is that, and for the listeners out there, is that I'm getting to do exactly what I do and still be. And so I get a lot of time
Fantastic.
of just being still and relaxed and being with my dogs. And I've been actually working, and as a result of the last contract I was on, my phone has been just off the hook, calling for people with healing.
Yeah.
The energy was there, and so I've been working, sitting here in my room at my desk or on my bed with my dogs and getting to spend time with them. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to you guys is I really just want to share with you, it's kind of what Rashmi was saying, is that it doesn't matter what you do. What I'm finding myself doing is I'm getting to motivate people and pump them up and get them excited. But then the most important thing I'm doing is I'm getting them when they're nervous or they're scared or they're afraid, I get them to look at their false evidence appearing real. I get them to look at their fear and take that step forward, because once you take that leap of faith, God will work amazing results in your favor, and he'll start moving energy, massive amounts of energy, because whatever you put out there is going to come back 100-fold. So if you're putting out the energy intention of, I'm successful and I know who I am, I love, I'm here working in oneness with all of consciousness, and I'm taking that leap of faith and trust in that, there's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing. I mean, it's absolutely incredible where it's come from. And Rashmi, my huge leap of faith was on June 1st of 2012 when I packed up my apartment, quit my job, and went out on tour. I mean, literally I've been on tour for over a year when you really think about it. I've never, I've been living in friends' homes or clients' homes and stuff like that with my dogs, and I always have a place to stay. I always have money. I always have exactly what I need.
Join the club. That is so wonderful. That is so wonderful. Yeah, I've been doing this for now years and years, leaving, 15 homes, leaving the 2 homes I've had, I've sold, and I've put everything on the line for service to humanity. And ultimately it has to be to ourselves, because, each of us also has a lot of stuff coming up. I cannot believe anybody on this planet saying they're totally peaceful, etc. at this time, because we are transmuting lifetimes of stuff. So the shadow, not just of this life, but many lives, and ultimately it's all one if it's coming up in the now. The biggest service we can do, as we know, but we do need to remind ourselves, is this work on ourselves. And this weekend, I had a chance to go through another very deep level of this unspecific fear that I've always had all my life, because I'm one of the most courageous people I know. I jump off cliffs and just literally leave everything behind me, money, relationships, fame, name, you call it, name it. I just drop it and come to zero, because I really believe in 0 point and the void energy and the nothingness to recreate, and the detachment, which is all so important now, because we can't say, well, I'm going to enlightenment with my shadow. No, you're not, we can't. But it's not about dumping the shadow or pulling it out. It's about embracing the dark with the light. Team Dark has played a role, and Team Light has played a role for us to experience duality. This is what the game is. It's not real. It's ultimately an illusion, and it's like snakes and ladders. So we could say the ladder is the guru within, guru meaning that which takes us from the darkness to the light, and the guru without, whatever the teachers, leaders, radio shows, whatever it is that helps us to wake up. And the snakes, we could say, is this reptilian energy, the Anunnaki energy, or whatever you want to call it, that has tampered with our DNA in the last 26,000-year cycle of sleeping and made us limited. But all of this was part of the game, so we can thank the reptilians. And many of them have gone home, and many of them are going to come to the light and are coming to the light as we speak. And we can stop this us and them game, because that is a complete illusion. And we can look at the shadow within each and every one of us. We have to start within. So this weekend, I really had this amazing thing, and I now give the shadow self a name. In Karuna Reiki, which is a master level course after you become a Yusui Reiki master, we teach shadow healing. It's a very, very important part. And people like Debbie Ford, who, is in my film, I, God, and Jeremy knows of her, bless her soul, she really, teachers like her help to bring it more into mainstream, the shadow healing. But in Reiki Energy Mastery, when you reach a certain level of Reiki, you have to go into this shadow healing. And many, many light workers are not interested in that. It's like we're in the light and we're peaceful and we're happy. No, to judge emotions like sadness and unhappiness and even jealousy, and you can't judge those emotions. They're just energy in motion. But, of course, you can't let those states rule your beingness. So this weekend I asked my shadow self, which is this part that just creates fear for nothing. I said, give me a name, and it was Cindy, which is funny. It just came up, Cindy. Now, sin and die, Cindy. Now, there's no such thing as sin as well, ultimately. But it was all about, she said, my purpose, because the shadow has a purpose in the beginning. And she said my purpose was to make you more human, because when you came on this planet, you came from a very loving energy of, the Venusian energy from Venus. And so this energy is helping you to be more human and to create a bridge and to slow you down as well. So I said, well, that's great now, but, since then all these things have happened. So we were able to embrace that, and now she's my friend, and I can talk to her. And it's just another layer. I mean, I've worked on layer. This is a more subtle layer, but it was not about making it bad or wrong,
Yeah. Well, that's I was going through a block like that last week, and let me tell you this. I had to get down there and look at it and talk to it, and it was such intense pain. I mean, and the only thing I can explain to it is it was eons and eons and eons of pain, and it would keep on moving from my root area and to all the way up to my spine, the middle of my spine, and I actually felt at one point like I had a pinched nerve. And I was sitting there at a meeting last week, and literally my whole body got numb like a nerve was pinched. And today it's fine, but as a result of all that stuff, I did a lot of purging last week, and then, of course, the end result is this little bit of a sinus infection that's coming out. But that's all that infection coming out. That I call them poison thoughts. And what it was is me not facing my shadow and loving it, and facing its fears. Because its fears are very valid, and when you ignore it, it's just going to surface, like Debbie Ford would teach, or another friend of mine would teach, that they're like beach balls. You're trying to push them underwater. They're going to pop back up eventually, And so your avoidance of it is missing. You're missing a great deal of yourself, and that part of yourself is very incredible and very beautiful. Because when you get down there and you love every aspect of yourself, you find an inner beauty that is so tremendous and so great. If you're just paying attention to the light, then you're missing you're missing half of yourself, and that's where the dimensions of the mind, we call this. I guess Rashmi suggested that, and I'm glad she did, because I have always looked at as a shaman, we are literally multi-realmed or multi-dimensional, and that's all within our psyche. So there is literally all these different mind thoughts and feelings and realms that when we approach them, and we don't have to do every single one of them. They start to collapse or come back into oneness. Those fragments start to come back into oneness as we start loving and getting back in the core. And it's very, that's alchemy at its greatest. It's turning lead into gold. I think
that's absolutely right. So, as Jeremy's saying, as each of these sub-personalities and multidimensional selves, and what is the shadow? The shadow is the unconscious and subconscious parts of our being that we're not even conscious of, and we tend to project it onto other people. That is a tendency that each and every one of us has, and it's easy for us to see that other people do that, but it's very difficult for us to see where we do that. And therefore we have to really be careful of the judgments of ourselves and others, and judging the shadow isn't going to help. The shadow is also the repressed and suppressed parts of ourselves. It's not okay for me to be sad if my friend Russell dies. That's not my ego. That is an aspect of my multidimensional feeling body, which is my precious juice of spirituality. So there's no need for us to judge those feelings, but to allow them and then release them, and then choose from a conscious vertical plane, which is connect your heart to the heart of the earth and the heart of the cosmos. Get into your vertical plane, take a deep breath, embrace the shadow, and ask for the unconscious and subconscious parts to surface. They're going to surface anyway. Every day of every minute of our lives, as Jeremy and I are sharing, is an initiation. So it's coming up. We no longer have to be in a Sekhem class and mastery for 5 years in order to get it. However, all the Sekhem teachers out there and practitioners, etc., will totally understand that Sekhem means the power of powers. It is a very high-level mastery of energy in Egyptian energy mastery, but it involves the power with humility. So So there are a lot of spiritual teachers out there, and there's all this power. People say, oh, Rashmi, you're so powerful. Well, as soon as they say that, I say, thank you, you're describing yourself. If they say, you're really stupid and you're full of ego, I say, thank you, you're describing yourself. Because ultimately there is nobody there. There is nothing happening. And to get all puffed up about I'm a great healer or all down because somebody's condemned me is nonsense. We're just pure mirrors when we become more and more clear. And the dichotomy or the paradox of that is, as Jeremy just shared, embrace all those different forgotten parts, those parts that have been fragmented. And it doesn't really matter in which lifetime, because there's a lot of healers out there, that overstress past life regression. I'm not knocking past life regression. It's a very important part of this energy mastery that I teach called Advanced Sound Wave Energy, where we go into cellular memory within seconds and clear stuff and, get the soul to go up, look down at that lifetime, look at the lessons of that lifetime, and shift the energies or realize that they may have raped somebody just as the other person raped them, and so on and so forth. So to forgive people by going into the bigger picture. However, we don't always need to go into this past life regression, because to just say, I was Cleopatra and this, that, and the other is another silly little mind game. And this whole business right now, which dimension is who in, Am I in the third? Am I in the fourth? Am I in the fifth? We, as some of my very powerful shepherd students here in London described to me, I said, do you see a shift in that which be Rashmi in this time? And they said, yeah, you're definitely moving backwards and forwards through the dimensions, including 3D. And, that's just so important, because they call it ascension and descension. We're bringing heaven to earth and we're bringing earth to heaven. So just to ascend means going up like we used to in the past, but in this time it's to ground the energy into this reality. Yes, it's not going to be as dense, but it still is a grounding of that energy. And to keep, going on about which dimension am I in, or, have I got my all 12 helix lit up, or has somebody only got 8, that's going back into the competition and the me being better than somebody else nonsense of 3D reality, isn't it?
Right. That comes down to the concept that we're all students and teachers too. As I'm teaching, if I have 50 people in front of me, I've got 50 teachers in front of me. But I'm, it's because there is no higher and lower. and that's the other thing that I want to really address out there is that, it's about being in the now of the moment, and when we're not fully understanding who we are, we live in the past and we live in the future. And why I'm really bringing this up is that where you're at right now is the perfect place. Because where you're at right now, you're growing and you're learning lessons and you're gaining and you got opportunities. And if you're looking to the future or you're looking to somebody else and thinking their life is better, then you're already pulling yourself out of balance, and that in itself causes misery in yourself. And I've very often done that myself, where I've just looked and said, well, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing? And so then I'm in judgment, and the only person that's judging me is me. And so, pure happiness, becoming a cosmic surfer, is when we're living in the now of the moment, and we're enjoying that moment, and we're here and now. And I've had the greatest time in 1 year, and I jokingly say being homeless, because literally I've been traveling and moving, and for the past 6 months I've been in one spot. But it's funny, when I first came back into Florida, I lived in a hotel for a week, then slept on a friend's couch, and then to move into the room that I've been staying in for 6 months. But everybody looks at that, and would look at that in their life and be stressed because they wouldn't have the security of knowing that they have a place to live. But if you can live truly in the now of the moment and appreciate this moment, and you're dreaming for something bigger, then you'll be able to fully appreciate that moment. Because I've had the nice house and the big house, and I didn't appreciate it. The only way to appreciate the illusion is to live in the now of the moment with the illusion, and not look at what you don't have.
And that's why the great saints and the great beings and the ascended masters, they were always moving. In Sanskrit we say, chariveti, chariveti, keep moving, keep moving. Now, not everybody that's appropriate, to suddenly sell up everything and move. But we have to be detached from everything. So enjoy your house, enjoy your relationships, enjoy whatever you're doing and being, but know that it could go in a minute. I just heard today when I had my blue nails painted by my lovely beautician here that her best friend's just dropped dead at the age of 33 for no rhyme or reason and left 2 beautiful children. So, we are not just bodies. We are not just nationalities. We are not everything we own. We are not even the great spiritual concepts and the tremendous spiritual knowledge that we know. We really have to understand this energy of nothingness from which everythingness happens. And when we understand that, there's a great rest, there's a great relief, there's a great calm no matter what happens. So a storm could come and then you become the energy of the storm and you get through it. Or you transcend to another realm, and that's fine too, because energy can neither be created nor destroyed. You're not going to go anywhere. And part of this shadow self that we're discussing in today's energy show, and we're going to bring in this energy, I hope this time quickly, for shadow healing for everybody, because it's nice to do energy work in these shows and not just talk. As I say, that's really not what I'm about, because I think everybody already knows what we're discussing. But and we bring this energy of, I've been homeless now for years, and I have just a certain number of suitcases left, and even that feels too much. I spent the weekend packing some of the stuff. Just now I was going to the charity shop with yet more stuff, and then I realized I had to come back because I had misunderstood in my head the 3D time for this show. So I came back with the stuff, and I'll take it tomorrow. But no matter, I find the less stuff I have, the less stuff I want to have, and I still land up, as Jeremy's saying, in the nicest places, doing the nicest things, and it doesn't really matter where I am. I could sleep on a floor, and I could sleep in the presidential suite of the Omni Hotel, where I get a zero bill every time I go to Washington, D.C., and that's where I stay for nothing, because I stay in hotels and wherever the energy takes me. And in these 3 continents, if people say, well, after America and the events and the things for Shiva Speaks happen, where am I going? I don't know. I have to be in the moment. I know that I live definitely off 3 continents, but I have to go wherever on the planet or in the universe that my I am presence takes me. So that is what's opening up for us. And, you go, wow, well, that Rashmi and Jeremy lead these amazing lives. Well, every single one of us can have freedom if we enjoy what we have without being attached to it. And that attachment is part of our shadow self. Now, just on the shadow self, very quickly, its original intent will always be a good one. So way back when I was little, my shadow self, Cindy, whatever you want to call it, it's a good name to give your shadow self a name in the moment, and that can change in another moment, because it helps you to just understand and make friends with it. And then, of course, ultimately, it's a part of you. It's not it's not separate. So it originally had a good intent, which then, over time, added more and more energy of duality, concepts, conditioning, beliefs, shoulds, shouldn'ts, and all the rest of the 3D jargon to create a holy mess called, another aspect of my particular shadow self about the fear is that I like excitement. So sometimes if I'm getting really bored with 3D stuff, well, then my shadow self creates excitement for me because its original intent is to give me entertainment. But the truth is, that kind of entertainment doesn't really serve me. There's no need for that energy depletion. So I'm talking to my own shadow self, saying thank you very much, and really listening to it and embracing it. And so that's just very, very important now. Do you have a name for your shadow self, Jeremy?
I've never come up with one.
Just ask it; it'll give you one right away.
It's funny. I will tell you that sometimes it appears as a little child, and I call it Little Jeremy. Because it'll throw a temper tantrum, and I'll be like,
yeah.
I love you. I want to hear what you have to say, but you have to wait your turn.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's got good stuff going on in there. So, but the name that comes to me is Vinny, Vinny.
Vinny?
Vinny.
How do you spell it?
Like, I guess Vinnie or Vnny.
Okay.
I guess my shadow's an Italian man right now.
Yeah, and maybe it always wants its purpose might be for you to always win, and that's why that could be like a shadow, because it's like sometimes it's okay for us to lose, That's how we learn. I'm not talking about your higher self. This is just the shadow part. Like my shadow is trying to entertain me with fear because I don't go and watch. I've never watched scary films. I'm not into that. So my shadow self does it for me at night in dream states. Create kind of these films.
Yeah. Well, it's good stuff because then the shadow is the one that gets into fear. I mean, it's like or it comes up with all the reasons. Like if somebody came, I've had recently a lot of people come to me and say, I'd like to do this with my life, but I just don't know how to do it. And I'm like, well, the first step is just to start getting into prayer and starting asking for spiritual guidance for each step. And and they'll even get that step, and I'll say, well, have you done it? And they'll say, no, I'm scared. I'm like, well, you won't get the next bit of information until you take that first step. That first step.
Exactly. That first step is so important. It's what Osho says: jump, and then jump, and then jump, and then jump. And that's what I love about being in the States. There's things in the States that cause me a lot of challenge, like the food sometimes and things like that. But what is amazing is that most people in America are so open to when I will say, let's jump, or, how do you feel about being unlimited? And then they become like little children and they're ready to jump. Whereas in Europe, and this is, not always the case, there are exceptions, people will say, oh, well, I'll let you know next year, shall I? Or, I'll think about it forever and a day. And that just slows everything down. Now, in India as well, things move quite fast overall. And that's why India and America are these zippy places where things keep happening, and it's very colorful, and many possibilities become probable,
Yeah, definitely. My whole life has been like this, where it's just moved super fast, and it's had its ups and its downs, and I've just now in the past few years learned that the downs are just as important as the ups, and because the downs shake up the shadow or the self, and then you get to really look deep within inside of yourself, and that's the part that everybody doesn't want to go into. And then they'll look at you or me, and they'll say, well, they never have a bad time. And then my question to people out there is that, well, what do you define as a bad time? Because if everything is an opportunity to grow, even in my sadness, I'm finding peace. Yeah. And so it's restful. It's restful when you have the downtime. Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't always have excitement as my shadow wants to have. It wipes you out. You need the rest, and then from that meditative state, the love overflows, and then that love is then available for others. But to just give, a lot of healers and teachers are just giving, on the outside and not doing the inner work. They're not following the infinity symbol, which is from the within to the without. It's not from the without to the within. And so those teachers may be successful and become New York best-selling authors or whatever, but ultimately then there's burnout. And, there's no judgment about people say, oh, well, if you're a saint or a great being, like an avatar, why did they die of cancer, etc. When you're in a body, in this reality, which is now going back to its multidimensional state, then you will have some of the laws of 3D reality play out. And, so we can't judge those things. We can't judge anything, really, because it's the judgment that causes attachment, that causes suffering, that causes pain. We can discern and make a statement very neutrally, and it won't have the energy of making something wrong or something right. If it doesn't go into polarity and duality, then that discernment, the energy, not being clever and saying, oh, I'm discerning when you're judging, will carry that energy of neutrality, but still choose wisely.
Whereas when we judge, we make something good and something bad, and it's judge dreary, and then we judge the judgment, which is a double bind. As Pata says, take off the head, feel the feeling, align the judgment, and bliss is your uncle. Bliss is your joy. Bliss is what you get. So let's just take a moment now for our listeners and ourselves to connect to our hearts and just connect to our breath so that we can do a little energy work on our current shadow self. So let's just take a deep breath in. Connect to the vertical plane. Connect to the heart energy from the center of the earth and the galactic core in your own heart, on your physical body, here now, through your breath and the sound of Om, primordial sound of the universe. And just hold your heart. Everybody hold your heart if this feels right for you. If not, you can zone out for this part of the program. This is all within free will. It's up to you. Mayurma, Mayurma, Mayurma. Love, love, love. Without condition, love. And now just let yourself imagine that in front of you is a lovely winding road, and there are boulders along this road as you climb up in nature. And just keep walking, and when you come to a boulder in front of you, just know that you will stop and pause, look at the scenery of your life, and your shadow will pop out from behind the boulder and tell you in a couple of words or a feeling of what it is and what it's trying to do for you right now. So take a deep breath in and just connect, and we're going to go into silence for a moment. I'm going to bring in the energy for the healing and the cellular memory release and the embracement of the shadow self within your free will and the higher good. This is not a have to. This is a if you would like to, if it feels right and within free will. Remember to breathe as you greet your shadow and know that it is safe. And just ask your shadow now for a name. And then just open your heart and take it into the light of you. Say, I will listen to you later on, and you can tell me what was your original good purpose to be in my life and how that has changed now, and hear it well and embrace it well. And every time it pops up in your behavior that trips you up with yourself and others, then just bring it out and see what it needs and decide whether you're going to go with it or you're going to choose from your conscious heart energy. Om Shanti 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 Om Gnosa Kriya Yav Shanti Halu Heart Rama Om Shanti Om. Let's take a deep breath in and chant Om, coming into integration of the vertical plane, which includes all dimensions actually. Breathe in deep. Are you with me, Jeremy?
I am.
And just feel that this lovely play of duality of the light and the dark, this dance, wherever there's a huge light, there will be a huge shadow. So don't judge the shadow, embrace it. The fear is not real. The illusion is not real. The I am presence is real. I am that I am. I am that I am. So feel your empowerment and feel your strength from taking something that is part of you, the shadow, and feeling it, allowing it, being with it, embracing it, and becoming whole and complete. Healing is becoming whole and complete. And as you do this now, just see yourselves as beautiful channels of this lovely energy of creation of heaven on earth, individually and collectively, on planet Earth and in all the dimensions, spheres, and universes here now on Earth and with each other. So, Jeremy, how does that feel for you?
I feel great. Very in balance.
Did you have a little out-of-body experience during the time?
Yeah, I went out for a little bit, and then your voice pulled me back, which was probably a good idea.
That's great. Yeah, fantastic. So chakray. So take a moment, everybody, to just ground yourselves by stamping the floor or just sending your root to the very center of the earth. And know that each of you, as Doreen Virtue beautifully says now, are very, this week, all the leadership qualities of each and every one of us are so required on the planet. I mean, what an exciting time, The changes are happening, the geopolitical changes, the internal changes, which is where it all begins. And this internal embracement of the shadow will make the external embracement of the governments and the various things as they shift, transform, and topple in certain cases easier for everybody as we ride this amazing wave into grace, ease, joys, and enough food. There was a huge rally in Hyde Park this weekend for ending of hunger on the planet against the G8 countries, and many celebrities were there, like David Beckham and my favorite comedian, Eddie Izzard. Have you seen Eddie Izzard, Jeremy?
No,
you would love him.
My favorite is
he's so cool.
Robin Williams. I absolutely love him. Well, he's not even really a comedian anymore. But,
right. So are there some huge rallies like this happening in Florida by any chance, or nearby in the States? There must be stuff happening. Like we've had the anti-hunger and the Bilderberg thing, and Turkey. Europe is really waking up.
I saw the Bilderberg thing. I haven't really seen a whole lot of stuff here. What I have seen, I've seen a lot of great interviews coming forward. That, matter of fact,
would you like to share?
I was getting ready to. Excuse me. I was actually in meditation all day one day, just sitting there, just really focused. And then somebody emailed me this video, and it was of a woman named Erin Rothschild, or Erin Green Hicks, and she was on Project Camelot. And it was just very eye-opening for me in a lot of ways. And that was areas that I didn't necessarily want to go into, and it took me into areas of my shadow that, opened up. And so as a result of me being there, I've recently just connected with Laura Eisenhower, probably within the last month or so, as a result of, I think saw her. Yeah, I've seen her on your Facebook and all that kind of stuff, and then I ended up seeing her one day and seeing a post, and something just drove me to email her and say, I want you on Soul Talk. And because I knew eventually you and I would want to interview her together as well. So, but just
that's what I thought we were going to do, but actually I thought it was perfect that you did the first one alone, because you were covering subjects that were more in resonance with just the two of you, whereas when we do a show, if we ever do the three of us, I would prefer to get into the divine feminine and another aspect of the discussion and energy work. So, but you're saying you feel disconnected to her now?
Yeah, well, I got this connection. One day I'm interviewing, I'm looking at this woman, Erin Hicks Green, and I hear who is there talking to her on her Facebook, Laura, and helping her, with energy and stuff like that, and because she's going through a hard time, because she just disclosed some huge things in her life that she's getting a lot of pushback on, and so it literally what I'm seeing here is people coming out and speaking their truth. It doesn't matter if you and I necessarily align with their truth. They're speaking their truth. And that's what's so important, because, I could have a truth that until I speak it, it might not completely unravel for me. or until I face it, it might not completely unravel. And as soon as I face it or speak it, it starts to unravel for me, and it opens up, and then I get to see it at a different level than what I was seeing it at before. So I'm really bringing this up because a lot of times we discourage people for speaking their truth because we think it's crazy or it just doesn't align with what our paradigm says and all that kind of stuff. So I would more just encourage people out there to speak not only their truth and face their stuff going on inside of themselves, but also encourage other people to speak their truth and let things unravel in their life, because it's very healing. I mean, there's things in my mind that I haven't fully understood for a very long time, and then when I heard her speak, I mean, I have memories that are in my childhood that my mother swore up and down never happened. Now they can be past life things, they can be another realm thing, that kind of stuff. But what it really told me is that that's a truth inside of me that I never wanted to look at because my mother said I never existed. It was a memory. She thought I just watched too much TV, but here I am. Having this unravel inside of me, and I'm looking at it and saying, no, that really happened in my psyche. And for me to ignore it is to ignore a part of myself. And whether it happens in physical 3D
I think that's a really valid point, that even if it's an untruth or something we disagree with, by resisting other people's truth in a way, it's the same as when we resist our own shadow. On the outside, that's not a good energy because it then multiplies. That which we resist persists. So it comes into line with what Jim Self so beautifully shares about this current energy, particularly in June, as different. We're all 7 billion. This is the plan now for all of us to wake up. And it's so exciting. This experiment has never occurred on the planet, on the universe before. So that's why so many ETs, etc., from other time-space continuums are here to see what's going to happen. And we don't know what's going to happen because it's up to each and every one of us what happens. And we are going to, what the Pleiadians call, outmake the maker. So it's very, very fun. But the thing is that we allow each and everybody to be at their pace, because not everybody is going to get the whole picture immediately, and there's no competition because we are one. This is just a game, and that is the key, because aren't each of us watching people around us not getting it, not waking up, still clinging to 3D, paradigms and suffering, but we have to allow them to do that, and that, I think, is one of the hardest things on the path, is it not, Jeremy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We latch on to this reality, and then if I was to say to all the listeners, you are a cosmic being, they would say, oh, I'm this marvelous, large, beautiful being, and that's true. So I don't want to down that. But what I'm also getting at is that within that large being, you're also everything that that disgusts you or dissatisfies you. You're all those things too. And so, when we learn how to love those or look at those things as very much a beautiful part of ourselves, then that's when we stop separating ourselves. I mean, I had a friend recently, and I'd invited her to something, and she said, when I mentioned people that were going to be there, she said, no, I can't be there. I'm sorry, thank you for the invite, but I just can't be around them. And I thought to myself, I'm like, you don't have to agree with where they're at. You don't even have to be around them. But when there is a reaction like that, then you are fragmented. And there's a part of yourself that is not what you want to look at. And so, but if you say, this is not for me, and they're great people, I love them, but I just don't feel being around them. That's a totally different reaction. And I'm not talking about the word.
Yeah, if you come from your vertical plane and you've centered yourself, and it's your guidance from your heart, your intuition, then that's a choice thing. But if it comes as a reactive thing, then that is something to definitely go towards, because there's a nice gem of wisdom or something to be gained from that, is there not?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you were ending that thought, we were at 11 minutes and 11 seconds left, and I just thought that was profound.
So this is the energy of oneness, guys. The energy of oneness, and I'm always sending my friend Jeremy and all the people in America and all the people all over the world, in Europe, in Asia, Australia, Africa, everywhere, South America, the energy of love, light, joy, and peace. But yes, we have to allow people their free will at the rate at which they choose these things. And sometimes their suffering is going to help them to wake up. And as Jeremy so amazingly shared, sometimes even, something that could be negative truth or whatever you want to call it, they still need to get it out. They still need to share it. And maybe from us not resisting that, just holding a space for it, they themselves will come to the realization that what they're saying is no longer valid or is a bit ridiculous, such as, no, competition is the only way to go, I've got to pay my mortgage, and how will I live? And you're very stupid, Rashmi, because you've, sold $500,000 worth of pounds worth of properties, and you're going to land on your bones on the street and so on. So, you've got to, I think just this allowance is just very important now, because it causes an alchemy. If we just stay in our center and our heartfeltness, our frequency will help shift them, if they're meant to. And otherwise, if we try and shift somebody against their will, then that is black magic. That is manipulation, just as the what do you want to call them, Illuminati or the reptilians or whatever you want to call them have done with us. That's what we don't want to do. And as Jeremy says, we are all Mother Teresa and Hitler and all of it. It's all one. You can't say all is one and then say, well, then that's not true. Because, yes, the universe has paradoxical energy to it. And as we become more still and we hold these frequencies of love, light, joy, and allowance, then we become a larger aspect of our own multidimensional nature. And we almost don't have a reason to be upset by anybody around us, do we, Jeremy? It becomes easier and easier, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It becomes very much easier. And so we're coming down to 8 minutes. Any last-minute thoughts? This time always flies by really fast. So, I know what I want to ask you.
Well, I'm really looking forward to our next interview on Shiva Speaks, which is on Amazon. Jeremy, have you read it yet? Shall I send you a PDF file? Because it's really powerful and important energy.
Well,
shall I send it to you?
Yeah, send it to me, and I'm sure Sarah will be sending me a copy too. But send me a PDF.
Okay. Because it's an e-book, and the Shiva energy is all about the destruction or the letting go of that which no longer serves. So we're very much in this time now of the Divine Mother energy, which is the allowance energy, the being, the stillness, the feminine energy, which is not a gender energy, and this energy of letting go of what no longer serves us. And unless we become empty, we cannot receive the new. So we cannot take all the 3D baggage with us into the 5th dimension, 6th dimension, and beyond, and there's no competition, there's not a linear understanding of these dimensions. And Jeremy, do you have any last bit of wisdom to shine on this business of which dimension people are in, and this constant I'm in the 5th and everybody else isn't nonsense
Absolutely.
that goes on, even among some of the good leaders out there? It's not what it's at, is it?
Absolutely. Well, practice being quiet and still. I mean, I know there's so many things. I mean, there's our kids we got to take care of. We got to get them to school. There's our bills we got to pay for. There's our house we got to take care of. There's our jobs and everything else in our lives. But there needs to be time where you just practice being still. And even if that's in the moment in your office, practicing being still. And practice non-reaction. In other words, take a second to pause before you react, to think about what you're getting ready to say or do. And it can be a fraction of a second. It doesn't have to be anything. And then every day when you go home, process your day. Process, was I reactive? Was there an opportunity there? Not a right or wrong. Was there an opportunity there for me to grow and get more calm and still and balanced inside? And I can guarantee you'll start seeing shifts in your life, because there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of stimulus that's happening out in this world. There's tornadoes happening all over the United States. There's definitely some amazing potential happening. There's bombings happening around the country. There's a lot of things that would make our mind want to go into a negative space. And I'm only mentioning these things for us to really process it. But what we want to do is we want to be still in it, because as we give energy of anger out there into the matrix, so to speak, we literally give energy to what's already happening. But if we stay still and give compassion and love, we will definitely start to change and flip this world. And it's already happening. We're already seeing the growing pains of the world shifting, and I think we're in a great space with that. But, one last thing I want to put out there is that, as you guys know, Rashmi's 3 books are, the Buddha Speaks, The Buddha Nature Within, and you can find that on Amazon, and then The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart. That's on Amazon, and then Shiva Speaks is coming out as well. And the other question I was going to ask you is the movie's coming out soon, isn't it? I got.
Well, I hope so. I mean, we're waiting for Neil to do his narration part, which he's working on. So he's got a very busy schedule, and as soon as that's done, then the film will be ready to roll, and it's going to be powerful because it's got many of the spiritual leaders and people off the street talking about oneness and unity consciousness as in their own perspectives, but then you see through that it is all one and just spoken about in different languages. So just on what Jeremy was discussing earlier, it's this non-doership energy bringing not. Hello.
Yeah, you there?
Hello. Am I there?
You're here.
I got to say goodbye because my I don't know. Anyway, non-doership, and it's in the Buddha Speaks book. And lots of love, everybody. Jeremy, it looks like I'm having to go now.
That's fine. You have a blessed day, and have a great one.
But we can, I'll speak till I'm there, but.
Absolutely. Well,
okay. Thank you so much.
Much love. Bye-bye.
Blessings. Bye.
Well, I'm going to wrap up the show with you guys. We got about 3 more minutes, and I'm just going to say that Rashmi's website is rashmikilnani.com, and then mine is jeremymcdonald.net. And the only other thing I want to throw out there before I end up the show is it's just a plug for a group of friends of mine. It's called the Healers Gathering in Navajo Land, and my friend Michelle Morgan Flowers is putting it on, and there's a lot of cool people that are going to be going there. If you Google search or look on Facebook, Gathering of Healers, it'll give you some information about it. And if you want to go there, it's free. Michelle has definitely made it very, very affordable, and it's a great place to go. And I want to help them as much as possible. Their website is it's the second one. I was actually one of the speakers out there last year, and it was the Navajo Reservation in Arizona. And so, anyways, I just wanted to get it out there and let everybody know about it. And you all have a blessed day, and love you guys, and namaste. Bye-bye.